I'm pleased to say I'm joined by one half of the team that won the CDCL World Cup of Darts qualifier at the weekend, Sudesh Fitzgerald. Thanks for the time, Sudesh. How are you doing?
You're welcome, buddy. I'm doing fine. Thank you for having us.
Thanks for coming on, and let's start with the weekend and yourself and Norman Madhoo representing Guyana, winning the qualifier to book that spot at the World Cup next month. What was that moment like when you won the final?
Well, for me, it was expected because I know what Norman capability is and I know what I can offer. So I was actually responsible for having the team trained back home, including the other two guys. The four of us came down here, so I was responsible for the training. So I saw what was their potential and I know what we can do. And here we are.
Well, looking at your run to the victory, we have to mention the semi-final against the Costa Rican pair of Jason Calderon and Guillermo Soto. It goes all the way to a decider. It's a game which I was having a look at Dart Connect. It went back and forth, but what was going through your head when it went to that last leg after you and Norman had missed chances to win it 8-6?
I actually was depending on Norman there with the points because he's more experienced and he's more fitter than me, I would say. So I think his nerves was rattled a little bit, but we got over there. Back and forth, it's something that happens when you play darts. At one moment you are consistent, and then after that something happens. I guess it's a bit of nerve.
And in that decider, both teams have chances, but it's your partner Norman who finds that double to send you two through to the final, and less than 15 minutes later you're playing in that final. How do you try and prepare for that last game, having just been involved in a close game like that one in the semi-finals?
Well, it starts from the inception, the very first game. So when we started positive, and that basically elevated us to propel from the beginning. So the same mentality that we set from the first game, we carried it all through to the finals.
And you and Norman race into an 8-0 lead in the final. It's a race to 10 legs and you get over the line 10-1, but at 8-0 you are almost there. So how do you try and stay focused on getting those last few legs and not thinking that the job is done already?
Well, that's exactly the plan. Don't think, just go and do what you have to do.
Well, we'll come back to the World Cup later, but I want to have a look back through your time in darts and go back to the very beginning, growing up in Guyana. When and how did you first get introduced to darts?
I was introduced sometime around 2000, the year 2000. My neighbor had a board set up underneath his house. So I was a little kid around 13 years. I was just looking across, looking over there, throwing something on a wall. I don't know what it is. Eventually, they were having a drink. But I'm the kid, so they call us over, playing around the yard. And Mr. Madhoo and some of his workers, because the neighbor worked at the same place with Mr. Madhoo. They saw me play. I was just scoring. I couldn't throw the dart. I have never seen it before, but I could have count. And he said, well, why is that guy just scoring all the time? He should have a chance to throw too. And it started from there.
And from an early age as well, you're soon representing your country in WDF America's Cups. What did it mean to you to then start travelling around and putting on that shirt and playing for your country as well?
It means a lot. I mean, in Guyana, there's very few options available. I choose darts, which is very far off from the other sport like cricket, football, and those sort of things. Tennis. I choose darts, and for me, whatever I put my hands on or whatever I want to do, I try to get the best out of it. And it has progressed over the years. So
fast forward to 2008 and you win the Caribbean and South American Masters to qualify for the biggest darts tournament in the world, the PDC World Championship. What do you remember about that day winning that qualifier?
I remembered I beat all the top players from the Caribbean and South America that was present. They were the number one player in my half of the bracket. I've had to beat all the number one to get to that spot.
And after your World Cup partner Norman, you were the second player from Guyana to play in the PDC World Championship. What was the build-up like the weeks and months before you made that trip over to England to play? Was it just excitement? Was it nerves about the opportunity you were getting to play at Ali Pali?
It was more nerves because I was young then. I have no exposure to the world. I didn't have any finance. I still don't have any finance. So it was more nerve-wracking because I had issues we had to sort out, make sure all the information was correct and get the UK visa. And that's going to be a little troublesome for me now because now I have to go through the same process again to have a visa for Germany. And my time is just 1 month away, so I don't know how much I can do.
Well, fingers crossed you'll be able to get that sorted. And looking back at that World Championship, you lose out 6-4 in a close game to Charles Losber in that prelim round. But despite the result, how special was it to play at Ali Pali?
For me, that's a personal achievement, actually my best achievement. I've always wanted to go back because I was nervous on that stage. Now there's nothing to lose. So I don't think I will be that nervous now. It's just to transform from where I'm coming from. I'm going to a first class world, what do you call it? Third world. We are from the third world, but the first world people where everybody associates as faster type of life. It will be different for me. So we'll have to get up to speed.
Since then, you've continued to play. You've won plenty of titles back home. You've become a national champion. What is the darts scene like in Guyana, and how has it changed over the years since you've been involved?
It hasn't evolved. It has gotten worse in Guyana. We don't have methods or ways in promoting the game back home. I've been trying personally to elevate it there, but I'm only limited to certain things financially. To get exposure in Guyana, I don't know what else we need to do or what we're doing wrong. But we have a constitution and we try to follow that, which guides us on the way forward. But I think we need somebody with a deep pocket to make it happen, make it transform there. And the PDC definitely is the people to do it. So hopefully we can collaborate with them and have some opportunities or see some way in making it better.
Let's hope so. And I mean, for you and Norman getting to the World Cup, I mean, how much of an impact do you think that could have on darts? You're going to get at least 2 games on the stage when the World Cup comes around in a month's time.
That's a question I don't have an answer for.
Well, back to yourself. You've come close a few times in recent years to getting back to Ali Pali. It's usually been Diogo Portela who stopped you a few times. How tough were those defeats getting so close to the World Championship again? Did you use it as inspiration to come back stronger next time?
My work always was to get to the event. My throwing ability, it's natural because I only play darts on Friday nights. I don't play darts every day. And for Friday nights, I play in a tournament that lasts for 2 hours, 3 hours. That's about it. So if I can be comfortable, then I would have the time to focus more on the game, spend more time playing the game. But there's other more important things in my life that I have to work for first. So it is what it is.
Definitely. And away from darts, we saw the community get behind you, support you. Last summer we found out the awful news that you'd been involved in a car accident and you were on life support. Can you talk us through that time and how difficult it was coming through that on the other side?
For me, I can't say how difficult it was for me because I was unconscious. I didn't know anything. But I can say that it was my family that went through, my family and friends that went through the difficult part to dealing with that situation and dealing with me now. Now my wife has to deal with all the nonsense that I put up. And she's probably the strongest person other than my mom that I see backing me in every single way.
Yeah, I was going to say, how much did having that support from your friends, your family, help you during that time when you were recovering from the injuries and learning how to walk again as well?
It makes me feel important. when people pays interest into me. It shows that I've been doing something and I'm getting some sort of reward.
And I was having a look through your Facebook page, and it was November last year. You said to my fellow dart players, I'll be back either to get my ass kicked or kick some ass. So was that determination to get back playing always there, or was there a point where you thought you might never be able to play darts again?
I've always wanted to play darts, and I've always wanted to better myself at it in every single way. That determination was always there, and I applied it not only to darts, almost everything that I do. I try to be confident, I try to have confidence in people that surround me, and whatever I say, I try to make it as real as possible coming from me, out of my mouth. Anything that comes out of my mouth, I'm responsible for. Some may not sound good, some may not be right, but it is what it is.
The World Cup, then the pre-qualifiers in Guyana to go and play in the World Cup qualifiers this past weekend, that started back in March, and you were one of 4 players to get through to that final stage. What did even getting that far mean to you after what you'd been through before that?
Well, I don't have an answer for that. Basically, because the reason why I say I don't have an answer, I know that I have nothing to lose. The other guys, I can't speak for them. So there was only one thing that I could do, and that's go out and shoot some dart. I can't move around as I feel like because my legs won't allow me to do, neither my hips. But I went out, I told them what needs to be done, and I participated and I elevated.
Yeah, you certainly did that, and as we mentioned, you and Norman go all the way to win that spot in the PDC World Cup, and it will be the first time that Guyana has had a team in the competition. What's the reaction been like the last few days back home to you two winning the qualifier?
Well, back home I have limited myself on the phone, but the guys are very supportive. We had 2 persons from our association here with us and helping us represent Guyana, trying to put Guyana on the stage again. The other fellas, they're all into excitement now. I have some friends back home, they're just waiting for us to get home so that we can do something, some sort of celebration or something. I don't know. I got a brain block or something. I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, we're around a month away now from the World Cup, and as you mentioned earlier, in terms of yourself, getting your visa sorted is going to be what you're going to be focusing on in the short term. But what's the plan for these next few weeks to get yourself ready ahead of making that trip to Germany? Are you going to try and put in more hours on the board, play more events? What's the plan?
Well, the spot has been closed for us now, so my job now is to get on the board as long as I can. I have the time now. I am not working, so I can do more hours on the board, but it's to transition from where I am to the world stage. That's another story. That's a long talk.
And just lastly, before we let you go, as we touched on it, it's going to be a special moment for Guyana when you and Norman take to the stage for that first game. But for you personally, what do you think that moment's going to be like? Because it's been a long time since that World Championship appearance, and obviously the last 9 months for yourself recovering from the accident that you had as well.
It's going to be a winning feeling. That's what we're going there for, to win. I know that we have the ability to throw good. The world champions, they miss too. So what's wrong if we miss a dart or 2? There's nothing wrong in that. This is what Mr. Madhoo has been working for since he started. This is what I've started. This is what I was working for from when I started. And I'm so happy now that both of us will be on the same stage at the same time, doing what we love for our country at the same moment.
Sudesh, it's a fantastic achievement, and we wish you and Norman all the best when that World Cup appearance comes around, and thanks very much for taking the time to join us.
Thank you very much, sir, for having me. Feel free to keep in contact with us, and if you want to have a chat with Norman, you just hit him up. You know how to.